When my friends first told me to watch Beastars, I was all like, yeah, nah dude, miss me with that furry shit. But now that I finally watch Beastars, I'm more like, oh, whoa, whoa, Beastars is set in an alternate, probably kinda smelly reality where humans don't exist and anthropomorphic animals run the world. If you can get over the fact that the entire show looks like it takes place inside a Midwest fur fest, you'll find that Beastars' animal-run world actually closely mirrors our own. There's all the hallmarks of a modern first world society here, like a government, good education system. Hell, they even got a bunch of Japanese lions running the Yakuza. But what modern society would be complete without racism? Yeah, that's a lot of racism. See, all the animals in Beastars are divided into two groups, carnivores and herbivores. The carnivores are shunned by the herbivores, are forced to conform to their dietary standards, and are legally mandated to suppress their carnivorous instincts. They're not allowed to be aggressive, eat meat, or hunt, which leads to a lot of pent-up frustration in the carnivores. I mean, can you blame them? I'd be mad too if I had to eat goddamn soy burgers every day. But more importantly, this societal structure leads to a lot of repression. Much like a pressure cooker, the carnivores in Beastars are forced to keep a lid on their primal instincts, pushing them deep into the depths of their consciousness so they never see the light of day. The only problem is, the instincts fight back. Check this out.
You've suppressed your feelings ever since you were a kid. You longed for this taste for 17 years.
Stop! Just in my misery.
Give it to me. I'll eat you.
Alright, let's move on. When I first watched the scene, I was terrified. The tension was palpable, the music was chilling, the voiceovers were better in Japanese. The point is, when I saw that evil shadowy looking thing give Legoshi the old reach around before taking control of his soul, I genuinely felt afraid. And yeah, that's partially due to the kick-ass production quality, but it's also because this shadow thing, this blood-curdling specter on the other side of our screens that compels Legoshi to eat his classmate, this fictitious spirit that lives inside him, feeds off his repressed emotions and grows. It isn't fiction at all.
So, back to you. We have been discussing some details, some of the factors in the development of the personality.
In the early years of the 20th century, famed Swiss psychologist Carl Jung introduced the concept of the shadow. This shadow was thought to be the place in our minds where the socially undesirable parts of a person's personality get banished to, kind of like a jail cell for bad personality traits. Now, what made for a bad personality trait, according to Jung, was typically up to society to decide. Remember the time where your little brother broke your favorite G.I. Joe, so you open a chilled can of whoop-ass on his stupid, boogery 5-year-old face? Yeah, what happened after? You probably cried, and your parents came running to open a second can of whoop-ass, this time on your dumb 6-year-old face, before hypocritically reminding you that violence was never the answer. Well, okay, you think to yourself, what do I do with all this rage in me then? If I'm never supposed to use it, I guess I'll just stick it in my mental basement and pile a bunch of crap on top of it. As you grow older and learn more about the world, you find yourself filling your mental basement more and more with the parts of yourself that society doesn't like. Over time, the jail cell starts to get cramped, your metaphysical inmates begin oozing out, and you start developing some weird impulses.
Ruh-roh.
Sudden, uncontrollable bursts of aggression, perverse immoral urges, and unexplainable irrational fears. Careful now, your dark side is showing. While you try your hardest to stuff the prisoners back into their cells, the walls crack, the bars bend, and soon enough, the room crumbles. Suddenly, all the repressed, unacceptable parts of your personality you tried so hard to forget are running free in the prison inside your mind. And while the guards of your consciousness scramble to sound the alarm and prepare for battle, there's a moment in time when the prisoners are in full control. And that's what this is. When Legoshi tries to eat Bunny Girl Senpai, he's possessed by his shadow. He's completely given in to the same urges society tells him to lock away. And he's not alone. Every carnivore in Beastars struggles with the same problem. The natural aggression and urge to eat meat that comes part and parcel with being a hunter isn't just socially shunned, but straight up outlawed by the government. The carnivores have no other choice but to repress these socially undesirable aspects of their personalities. And the more they repress, the darker their shadows become. And it's the same with us. We all have a shadow. Like in Harry Potter, the hero always carries a touch of the villain. And like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, one can't exist without the other. So, what are we supposed to do about our shadows if we can't lock them away? Well, as cheesy as it sounds, in order to be free from your shadow's grasp, you're gonna have to bring it into the light. Much to society's dismay, you'll have to integrate all the undesirable traits living inside your shadow into your conscious personality, or risk being a slave to your impulses if you don't. By denying the worst parts of yourself, you can't really hope to see the best. After all, how can you be at your best when you're incomplete? That being said, it's gonna be a long journey, but rest assured, you're already on your way. Because the first step to integrating your dark side, of course, is to acknowledge it exists.